Hi, guys. Today we're going to talk about topic and theme. One thing that you uh, might find useful is this slide that I added for today's assignment. Topics are usually one word, okay, like uh, jealousy, justice, beauty, fate, fear. So it's always helpful that when you ask yourself, okay, what is this poem? What is this story about? That you come up with a topic first, okay? Then you use that in order to develop your theme. So, in using your topic, you want to use that topic as the learning lesson. So, for example, it says, using if you I'm looking at bullet number 2, using a main topic, complete the sentence. The author believes that, or the character learned that. So you're gonna you can complete that, and then looking at number 3, you can cross off words. So for example, the character learned that goals can be accomplished with perseverance. So there it would that would be your theme statement. So you always want to try to shorten it, don't have it too long. Don't start with the character learn or the author believes. You can start off with it if it helps you come up with a learning statement, but then cross it off, and then you're left with your theme. Okay, so this should be all review. So what we're gonna do is we're going to look at the short poem we had read. I believe it was last week, by Tupac. It says, "Did you hear about the rose that grew from a crack in the concrete, proving nature's laws wrong? It learned to walk without having feet. Funny it seems, but by keeping its dreams, it learned to breathe fresh air. Long live the rose that grew from concrete when no one else ever cared." And this one, if you actually look at the questions, the first question on here deals with theme. So it says, which of the following identifies a main theme of the text? So we're looking about it. We briefly talked about it the other day. We're looking at letter C. People can overcome difficulties to succeed. So just like the rose, concrete is supposed to be very hard. So it's supposed to be almost impossible for a rose to grow out of concrete and break through it. So that concrete represents the hardships that the rose went through in order to be successful in growing. So if you look at number 2, it says, which detail from the poem best supports the answer to part A? It says, did you hear about the rose that grew? When you're looking at answer choices like these guys, you're only focusing on the lines. So forget what's after line 2 in this case. That line itself should give you enough to support your answer. So knowing that a rose grew, it doesn't tell me anything. For all I know, it could have, grown at, botanical gardens. It could have grown outside your house. That line itself, it doesn't tell us that it grew through concrete. B says, learn to walk without having feet. That's a possibility because that shows some hardship going on, learning to walk without having feet. C says, long live the rose that grew from concrete. And then D says, when no one else cared. So this itself, it doesn't tell us pretty much anything when no one else ever cared. It doesn't tell us that it's talking about the rose or anything like that. However, which best supports that you can overcome difficulties and succeed. And the line the best does that because it's dealing with the rose is letter C. Long live the rose that grew from concrete. So the rose is the success, and then the growing from concrete is overcoming that hardship. Okay. So what I'm going to do next is I'm going to open up a Google Doc, and I'm going to show you the short answer, an example of a short answer that I'm looking for. And then you guys are going to do the same thing, but you're going to use red roses. You're going to come up with a topic or topics, brainstorm, and then you're going to come up with a theme and you're going to support it with textual evidence. So you always want to start off with the writer's name. So I'm going to say Tupac's poem, The Rose That Grew Concrete. And let me just make sure that that is the title. Yes. So I always want you to start off with a quick summary. Tells us about a rose that was able to grow through concrete successfully. The underlying message is that hardships can be overcome. Then I'm going to say some topics are hardships, difficulties. You can say fear and perseverance. So again, these are my topics. Okay. Now I'm going to introduce the theme. The theme in this poem is that, and I don't have to use the one that was on there, is that perseverance and over obstacles. Okay. Then I'm going to give a quote from the poem to support it. So I'm going to use this one because I really do like it. Long live the rose that grew from concrete. So I'm going to say, despite the concrete being a barrier, long lived the rose that grew. Oh, I can't type today. Concrete. This shows that the rose was successful despite difficulties. Okay, so I have, let me make it a little bit bigger so y'all can see it better. So notice this is what I'm looking for. I want you to give me a quick summary of what Red Roses is about. Again, you're not using the poem that I just used as an example. You are going to use Red Roses. You're going to tell me what some of the topics are. In this case, I named topics hardships, difficulties, fear, and perseverance. And then you're going to tell me the theme in this poem. And then you are going to uh, give me a quote and shows how that quote is related to the theme. Okay. Again, guys, this is merely an example. I want you to use, oops, that's too big. I want you to use red roses to do the exact same thing I did. Okay. I'm going to have under today's folder, I'm going to have a place for you to post your assignment. Okay. So if you have any questions, let me know. Log in to your Zoom because we also need to quickly review for our test tomorrow. All right, guys, have a good day.